Good evening, Pokesports fans. I hope you guys are having a fantastic International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day. I'm Mike and I play with one Pokemon on the field.
I'm Kevin. I play with 2 Pokemon on the field and 2 dog biscuits on the field, Mike.
So you're giving like your Arcanine, just tossing them treats.
I mean, he just sits there and yells all day to get -1 special attack drops. I have to give him some type of treat for winning me games.
It's true. Yo, Arcanine has been putting in work this week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. We have so much to talk about today, including the Oceania internationals that just finished up yesterday. We have so much more to talk about, including PAX and the international challenges coming online. But first, what we're going to do is talk about, well, you know what? This guy right here, Ball Guy. Ball Guy's our friend. He's a nice guy. And you know what? He's put together a little tournament for us. He's given us the opportunity to win a shirt with his likeness on it. And I am incredibly excited. Kevin, have you signed up yet? I know you were kind of holding on that.
No, I'm still building my team. Team's almost done, and then I'll sign up. I'm actually bringing a different team to this tournament.
You can actually sign up without registering a team. I know you used to have to do that in like previous games, but not now.
Oh, they don't lock your battle box?
Nope,
Never
you
mind.
just go in with a team. So make sure you actually sign up. Don't forget it.
Let me not forget. I'm pretty sure I'll remember. We still have until when?
You have until I think it actually starts, right? Until the 27th, yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we got
now, one thing to keep in mind is that this, like, man, when I signed up for it, it shows you how many games you get to play, and every single day you get to play 45 games. You get to play a maximum of 45 games, and then it'll take like your win-loss ratio, and like whoever gets the most wins the tournament.
45 games.
45 games a day.
Spanned across 3 days. So that's over 100 games of Pokemon. Jeez.
Yeah. It's a ton. Now it starts on February 27th. So like I'm going out that night. I've got stuff to do. So I don't think I'm going to be there for the 7 to 12 time period. So I'm a little worried, like the 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. time period for the 27th. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be getting those 45 games in, which I feel like is like really going to hurt my chances of winning the whole thing. But like I've got tickets to a musical, man. Like I'm gonna go see Come From Away. Like that's happening.
Yeah, I mean I'll be in PAX. I don't know how I'm gonna get those games in.
I have no idea how you're gonna do it.
I guess whenever.
There've got to be some people who are like sitting in the handheld lounge.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Yeah,
but I'm probably just gonna play whenever I get home. Try my best to get those. I will not get 45 a day. I doubt it, but you know, I will get that Ball Guy T-shirt because that's the only prize that matters here.
It's
Mike.
true. It's true. That's very true. Moving on, the Oceania International, and I'm stammering here because we have one other thing to talk about, but I think I'm gonna kind of shine it in after we're done this. But the Oceania Internationals were this past weekend. And good Lord, it was beautiful. Like, take a look. There's this picture right here. For those of you listening on Twitch or watching on YouTube, there's a picture that the Pokemon Company tweeted out of their main stage, and it looked beautiful. Kevin, you were showing me some other pictures from like the entire venue, and there were just chairs and rows and people all over the place.
Around 300 came out to this tournament. It's not as much as Dallas, but for an overseas tournament, that's a lot of people.
No, for sure. But no, it was really, really good. We watched some amazing games. Honestly, Juniors was pretty hype.
Juniors was so lit, Mike.
That's like that's a phrase that I never thought that I would actually have to say, but Juniors was pretty hype.
It's a mixture of me just being so impressed with how good they are at Pokemon, along with me just also thinking, wow, they would have beat me.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Well, like that's the thing too. I was saying in Discord today, like you kind of have to suspend all like notions of, oh, this kid is making an improper play, or like, you know, appreciate the fact that they're kids playing Pokemon and they're doing their best. And like, yes, there are plays that they make that you wouldn't have made, but that last set between Justin and Simone, oh my God, that was a nail biter.
And I think what made that set so good is that Simone was kind of the underdog. You saw all of Justin's statistics.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I've won 21 regionals. 21. And I'm just like, okay, calm down, kid. But yeah, Simone, this was her first international championship. She has a couple of like top cuts and stuff, and she's never actually won a tournament before. At least I don't think. I just remember her being like a super big underdog.
No,
everyone in the chat.
This was her first tournament. This was her first tournament. And she won the whole thing. So congrats to Simone for doing that. Before we get into what we're talking about today, and let me see if that next one. Oh, you know what? Before we even get into that, we've just got to talk about the Pokemon that came to the internationals this year. Because, oh my gosh, like I am so incredibly excited for March 1st, specifically because we will hopefully not see this again. There's VictoryRoadVGC.com put out statistics, or put out a list of all of the teams that were brought in top 8. Now, 7 of them included a Togekiss. 6 of them included an Arcanine. 5 of them included, four of them included an Excadrill. Like, this is just what's been happening all throughout the first couple months of this game. And I get it. Togekiss is really good. Arcanine's really good. Excadrill, Tyranitar, Duraludon, they're all really good. But, I want to see some variety.
But guess what, Mike? None of those Pokemon won the whole thing.
I know, right?
The first place, Marco Silva, was the only person that didn't bring standard meta. And we got to appreciate him for that. Because he didn't bring Togekiss, he didn't bring Arcanine, he didn't bring he didn't bring Excadrill, he didn't bring Tyranitar. He brought counters to all those Pokemon. That's something that I respect because he was so well versed in the meta. He knew what people are going to bring.
Yeah.
And clearly people are bringing nearly the same thing because look at top 8 right now. And he was just like, you know what? Let me bring things that counter them. Let me bring Conkeldurr. Let me bring Dracovish. Let me bring Duraludon. Things like that. So I respect that a lot.
Now, I mean, a lot of people will say that, there was a lot of luck involved in his win. But that's the game sometimes. Especially when you're playing against the meta, you kind of have to kind of play to that kind of luck. For those of you who are listening along and not seeing the slide that we have up right now, the winner of the Masters International Champion for Oceania was Marco Himantha K, who brought a Whimsicott, Duraludon, Dracovish, Rotom Heat, Sylveon, and Conkeldurr. Sylveon actually put in a lot of work, which I was a little surprised about, but that Pixelate Hyper Voice, that's not anything to sleep on.
And he specifically EV'd his to outspeed Togekiss at 0 speed.
Yeah.
So that was pretty impressive too, because it actually helped him a lot in one of his games.
Interesting. Hey, tell me something. If you Dynamax a Sylveon and use Hyper Voice, that's a max strike, right? A Pixelate max strike?
It becomes Starfall.
It becomes Starfall?
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
So so you end up still getting the stab on it. So it's still worthwhile to Dynamax a Sylveon if you have to.
Well, you get the stab on it, but do you get the Pixelate boost?
Probably not.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I mean, maybe. See, the thing is, maybe you do. That's just one of those awkward Pokemon questions where it's like not set in stone.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking that if it turns into a fairy type, you would also get the boost on it. But then I'm also thinking that would be broken, and people would have been taking advantage of that by now.
That's very true. All right. So moving on, we have our Pokemon Pokésports Spotlight giveaway number 3 going on right now. So yay us. We've been going for another whole month. And to celebrate that, we are giving away 4 Pokemon, all of which we've talked about in this past month of, what month was it? February. Now, just a friendly reminder, the Pokemon that we've spoken about so far this month have been Tyranitar, have been Whimsicott, have been Friendguard Clefairy, and a fourth that I don't know what it's going to be. It could be anything. And that, like, look at that. That could be literally anything, guys.
Who knows what that's gonna be?
Could be a skinny Blastoise. Who knows? Now, also, we're not going to get into this one too deep, but if you are a patron, patreon.com/Pokesports podcast, you can go over to the Patreon right now and you will see a post. That post will talk all about this month's Patreon raffle. We're kind of taking it to grassroots with that. So if you are already a patron, then you can go and check that out. All the information is there.
Yes.
Now,
and also, next week is different.
Next week's a little different. Now I have a question. Have you ever sat there and thought, you know what? I love Pokesports, but oh man, I'm going to PAX this weekend and I don't want to miss it. And I don't want to sit through something live while I'm at a venue. And the good news for you guys is neither do we. So we're moving that to Monday. Kevin, you'll be at PAX. Kevin, tell them all about it.
I'll be at PAX. I'll be spending a lot of my time in the handheld lounge. If you want to come say hi, I look like this. If you guys don't know what I look like, go to YouTube. You'll see what I look like. You'll get free business cards. That's all I have to offer. And I'll have my Switch on me. No, I have my Switch on me. I'll give you guys dittos too.
Oh, that's cute.
So come say hi to me.
Nice.
But yeah, it actually works out well because by pushing it an extra day, just to clarify, we're going to be streaming this on Monday the 2nd instead of Sunday the 1st. But if you're just like a sole podcast listener, it should be still coming out on the same day. But yeah, what's nice is that we'll be able to talk about things like Collinsville and the International Challenge, which we wouldn't have been able to do if we recorded on Sunday. So that's good.
Yeah. I think that'll be a good time. Unfortunately, I'm not going to this PAX.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a ball guy tournament to participate in. So, I mean, that's where I'm at with that. But speaking of the ball guy tournament, speaking of next month, we're getting into a new series. We're getting into series 3 of VGC 2020. That is going to be a nuts time because we have a whole ton of new Pokemon coming in to the meta, into our lives, into our souls. And we're going to talk all about them today. Now, first off, to get into what actually changes in Series 3, Kevin, let's talk a little bit about that.
A lot of it is mostly Pokemon getting added in. A lot of Pokemon did become available to Sword and Shield with Home being released, but they weren't accessible in the metagame yet. But March 1st is marking the first day where all the Pokemon that aren't Legends that became accessible through Home, things like the Gen 1 starters, Gen 7 starters, Alolan forms, well, most of the Alolan forms are going to be illegal. Are going to be legal in starting March 1st in competitive play.
Right.
And a bunch of new Gigantamaxes too, but we'll get to that after the break.
Yeah, I mean, the egg moves and stuff, that's already kind of been introduced. But now you get those Pokemon with those egg moves with their new abilities and their Alolan forms, which is really interesting to me. Now, in order to have those Pokemon be allowed, they do need to have that black Galar symbol, which is relevant for things like Ninetales, where you can currently get a regular old Ninetales, but you will be able to get an Alolan Ninetales as well because of the Vulpix, which there is an Alolan form of, versus something like Pikachu evolving into Alolan Raichu. You just can't do that in the Galar region because that requires you to be in Alola for it to actually evolve that way. Yeah. So it does kind of gate some of the Galar Pokemon, but not the super important ones, not the ones that we're going to be talking about. So with that, let's get into it. These are the Pokemon that are going to be in VGC starting in March 1st. Now, some of them we're going to see in play, some of them we're probably not going to see in play, but they're all going to be there in some kind of capacity. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Incineroar. Kevin, go ahead.
You guys know what Incineroar does. It's essentially Arcanine. If you guys have watched Oceania Regionals, you guys saw what Arcanine does. It comes in, it intimidates, it spams Snarl. Incineroar now gets the move Parting Shot. It's gonna come in, Parting Shot, leave. Come in again, Parting Shot, leave.
Yeah.
Over and over. It's just a very difficult to tolerate Pokemon because it's kind of hard for your Pokemon to do anything when both of their offensive stats are being reduced the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Incineroar. Blastoise. Blastoise is one that I'm actually pretty excited for. We've got the Shell Smash on that now, so going to be seeing a little bit of Shell Smash memes going on. Focus Sash, of course, to kind of go along with Shell Smash. Torrent for the Focus Sash with the Shell Smash. Like, there's just this Pokemon is synergy, right?
Yeah, it synergizes really well.
Yeah, and then you get into the physical variants for like Liquidation, or the special variants for like Hydro Pump. It's going to be a nuts Pokemon, and I'm curious how people are going to use it.
Yeah, next we have Venusaur, now becoming the fastest chlorophyll user in the game.
Yeah.
Also the fastest sleep powder in the game. So that is one I'm very excited for. My first, I guess, post March 1st team is probably going to include a Venusaur. So I can't wait for that one.
Do you think
sleep powder is good?
Yeah. Do you think that people will be running sleep powder?
Oh, I'm running Wide Lens and sleep powder. I don't care. I have to pull a Simone and just put everything to sleep on the field, Mike.
Okay, I need to get back to that. I need to go back to that right now. That Waterfree putting everything to sleep in game 1 was
so funny.
Amazing. It was so funny. Like the entire win condition was putting the Rhyperior to sleep, but then once she did that, she realized, oh wait, I just have free reign with this Butterfree now. And
I put everything to sleep.
Justin was not able to play that game. Like, sometimes you just win Pokemon by making your opponent unable to play. That's just it's just how it goes. Primarina is the next one. Now, I was excited for Primarina for like a hot second. It's super specially defensive, super offensive. Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice is good. I mean, it turns all normal move, or all sound-based moves, sorry, I should say, to water moves. But what kind of killed it for me was the fact that I learned that Hyper Voice doesn't actually Liquid Voice, sorry, doesn't actually give the same was it 20 or 30% boost that Pixelate does. So it just changes the typing of Hyper Voice to water, which, I mean, sure, you get the stab, but it's at that point it's just a stab spread move.
It's just a muddy water at that point.
It's just a muddy water.
Yeah, it's kind of not. Once I looked into it, I was just like, oh, this is less impressive than I thought. But I mean, hey, it's a nice typing.
There might be some opportunities for like Calm Mind setups and that kind of stuff, but overall, I'm not super impressed by Primarina, but we'll see how that works.
Yeah. Next, we have the Decidueye. Now, this is something me and Mike were also talking about yesterday, because we look at the Decidueye and we feel like it has such potential in terms of its stats. And a lot of the reason why it wasn't used in the past is because of its low speed. But now that this metagame has a very low speed tier, like most Pokemon are around base 80s, I think that Decidueye can actually function probably well in this game. It has an interesting hidden ability. It's a mixed attacker. It can maybe function as a support. It has some supportive moves, but all in all, I'm excited for it. Ghost Grass is also good typing.
Let me give you a little shout out too. Today on Sunday, you put out a video on Gourgeist, because Gourgeist was seen a lot this past weekend because of its typing, 2, its trick or treat usage, 3, its typing, 4, and its typing. The interesting thing about Decidueye is it is a Gourgeist. It has the same typing. However, it is a lot more variable. Like, you can use it in a lot more scenarios. Especially with it being a mixed attacker, like, you're going to see tons of use of what's that one, Spirit Shackle. You're going to see tons of
Yeah.
use of Shadow Ball. You're going to see tons of use of Leaf Blade. You're going to see tons of use of whatever grass special move it gets. Like it's going to be an interesting Pokemon to use.
I think it'll be sleeper for sure. Like someone will bring it out.
Yeah, it's going to be there. Something else that people are going to bring out is an Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales is the fastest Hail / Aurora Veil setter, which made it really good in VGC 19, especially with its unique typing. It's going to see play this time for sure. It's going to enable ice teams or people that want to bring ice on their team until Gmax Lapras comes out and is Gmax Lapras.
Doesn't even need hail.
Yep.
But next we have Alolan Persian. Now people are probably looking at this thing and be like, "What's that on its face?" Well, guess what? It's like one of the best Pokemon in my opinion.
Yeah.
It has like the fastest quash outside of Prankster, which is very good because like we mentioned before on this podcast, you can't Prankster Dark types, so you can quash Dark types with this Pokemon. And it's also a really good supportive Pokemon. It has access to Fur Coat, making it super defensive, Fake Out, Thunder Wave, all that good stuff. So I think it's definitely going to be maybe a sleeper pick. Maybe people are going to just come out the woodworks and start using it. Who knows? But I definitely want to use it.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of want to try it out. I feel like with the fighting moves being such a nasty time for people right now, like Max Knuckle is a genuine problem. So I'm curious if Persian's going to actually see any play. Who knows? But anyway, somebody else who, questionable if we're going to see play versus fighting types, the late Alolan Dugtrio, who has great hair. Just, oh my gosh, we're getting the hair back, guys.
You probably wouldn't want to use it competitively, but you know what? It's nice to look at. You'll be seeing that in the wild area.
You might be able to use something with like Sandforce.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's probably not going to see any play. I'm sorry. If you're a like massive Alolan Dugtrio fan because of the hair, like try it out. But honestly, nobody was using Dugtrio, so why would people use Alolan Dugtrio? It's probably going to see a little bit of play in singles because this is the Dugtrio that I believe you can use, unlike straight to Uber's Dugtrio before. We're also getting, not on this slide, Darmanitan, Unova Darmanitan, who has, great attack and is a good speed for this meta. Won't hit as hard as Darmanitan, as Galarian Darmanitan, but it's good in a meta where like we don't have a ton of fire types.
Definitely. It also gets access to like Stab, Flare, Blitz, which is nice.
Yeah.
Rock Slide, which is nice. People are probably not going to be using it because they're going to be using like Incineroar, but it's there. It's nice.
I mean, another thing that's there. Types, yeah, go ahead.
We have Rapidash coming back. I guess it can work. I feel like it'll maybe be better than the Psychic and Fairy version of it because that's almost no play because there are just so many better Psychic Fairy types or Fairy types in general in the game, but just use Darmanitan. I mean, Darmanitan does everything Rapidash can do, but better.
Yeah.
If Rapidash is your favorite Pokemon, then go for it.
I wish I had some like commercial music going on right now, because then I could just be like, "Are you? Do you want to try and use Rapidash? Do you lose versus Rapidash all the time? Has this ever happened to you? Try Arcanine. Try Incineroar. Try Darmanitan. Try literally anything else." But some people really like Rapidash for the unicorn factor. So I mean, hey, more power to you if you want to use it. So again, Alolan Raichu, Cantonian Wheezing, they're not legal because you just can't breed them in Galar. Normal coughing turns into Galarian Wheezing in Galar, and Pikachu turns into Raichu in Galar. It just won't happen.
Feels
bad. Oh, well.
I was actually looking forward to Alolan Raichu, but
yeah. So, Kevin, with all these Pokemon coming out, which ones do you think are actually going to impact the metagame?
Other than Incineroar, probably I'd say Venusaur for sure. And See, I want to say Ninetales, but we're gonna have Gmax Lapras come out too, and we'll talk about that later.
Well, yeah.
I'd say Venusaur will probably be the most to impact the metagame.
Mm-hmm.
If Incineroar isn't being considered, I also do think Alola, Unova, Darmanitan would be impacting the metagame because it doesn't have to lock itself onto a move, so you can have some kind of an option with it versus Galarian Darmanitan where you know exactly what it's gonna do every time. Yeah, just those two in my opinion. What about you, Mike?
That's interesting. I've been on the Decidueye train for a little bit because I'm just so interested in that ghost typing. I think that fighting is a very scary time right now. Fighting Pokemon are a very scary time right now, and Decidueye kind of fills that niche. We don't have a ton of great grass Pokemon. We do have a little bit of a fire weakness there to worry about, but I think if there's any Pokemon that can kind of fill that need for a ghost type, apart from the way that Gengar has kind of started to, I think it's Decidueye.
I feel like with Decidueye, the only Pokemon you really have to worry about is Incineroar, but it looks like Incineroar is just going to want to switch in all the time, so maybe its offensive pressure won't really be there too much.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and take ourselves a little break, get ourselves some water and recharge, and come back for a little talk about some new Gigantamaxes that we're getting on March 1st. Gmax is going to be a fun time. Finally, it feels like Gmax was kind of slept on for a little bit, and then people started to use it, and now the floodgates are kind of opening, and now it's going to be a big thing. So we're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. So we'll see you in a little bit. And we are back. Kevin, how was your week this week?
It was pretty basic.
Basic how?
I mean, I don't know. My chest feels a little better looking than usual.
Oh, hey, you know what? So does mine. Would you look at that?
Whoa.
Oh. Guys, we have our merch live. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you've probably heard last week's episode where I talked about our Teespring, which kind of came out in between when we recorded and when the episode actually came out. So I decided to record a little thing for Spotify talking about our Teespring store that we finally put up. People have been asking us, where can we get that sick looking logo? I want to put that on my chest. I want to rep Pokesports. I want to support the podcast. And we said, okay, well, you twisted my arm. Here it is. So if you are interested in picking up a nice comfort tee or a nice premium tee or a hoodie with our Pokesports logo, you can also get a nice sticker for the back of your laptop, which I just ordered and I want to get on my laptop too. You can get that at teespring.com/stores. That's with an S at the beginning and the end /Pokesports. So again, teespring.com/stores/Pokesports.
The premium hoodie is really soft. Get it. Trust me. I'm wearing it right now. This is the best thing I've ever had.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, in order to celebrate the launch of our merch store until March 1st, you can get free shipping by using the code POKESHIP, POKESHIP. So again, that's just until March 1st. As well, if you are a tier 3 patron, you have access to an additional $5 off code as well. So you can go ahead and do that. And if any of you, get yourself a t-shirt, then we would love to see a selfie of you wearing it. You can send those to PokesportsPod on Twitter. Oh, Kevin, it's been a good week. I got this shirt in the mail and I was like, oh yes, it is a good time.
It was such a quick decision too. We were originally just gonna give it some more time or wait till the following week. People were like, we want shirts. So we had to get the shirts, man.
Exactly. But we're not just here to talk about shirts, Kevin. We're here to talk about Pokemon. Now,
Pokemon shirts?
You don't say. Now, listen. March 1st is going to be a fun time. Series 3 is going to come out and we're going to get all these new Pokemon, but we're also going to get some different variants to our favorite Pokemon or to some pretty good Pokemon. We're getting new Gmaxes. Now, Gmaxes. Here's the nuts, guys. Listen to this. The following Pokemon will be allowed to Gigantamax in tournament play, starting as early as next week. We've got Alchemy, Appleton, Colossal, Flapple, Grimmsnarl, Hatterene, Kingler, Lapras, Orbeetle, and Toxtricity, as well as Charizard with any available to it, or any ability available to it. Now, listen, some of these Pokemon are insane. Like, broken. We're going to break down every single one of them, and we're going to say which kind of teams you should be putting these Pokemon on. There's some very specific people that there are very specific Pokemon that some of these Pokemon work well with. We're going to get into that. Let's start with Alchemy. Kevin, tell me a little bit about Gmax Finale.
It does damage and heals everybody.
So that one's
so
not
it
too
can't
great.
go. I mean, it can't go wrong, right? I mean, I probably wouldn't run Alchemy for it. People that have used Alchemy, they've just used it as a decorate spammer. So you probably wouldn't want to Gmax it. I mean, you could also just use heal posts on your Clefairy and get Follow Me too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all right. It's okay.
It's okay.
Nothing special.
But what is nice is Appleton, Gmax Sweetness, which heals status conditions of all of your allies, which, I mean, there are some very specific situations where that could work. I would see it working a little bit more often than Alchemy. But I don't know, like, you might be able to use some interesting combinations of like rest and sleep talk to guarantee yourself, an extra turn of actually doing something. The problem though is that like this is mainly like a Trick Room Pokemon, since Appleton, I believe, is very slow. Am I right?
Yeah, very slow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though. Gmax Appleton is a lot better than Gmax Flapple. Gmax Flapple is probably the worst one of the bunch.
Gmax
reduces, Gmax Tartness reduces the opponent's evasiveness. Who cares? Why is that important?
I mean, like, there are some very, 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 very niche times where that would work.
Just use gravity, Mike.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Then it's 5 turns and they can't switch out of it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that Appleton and Flapple's Gmax moves are in fact different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appleton's the one that you will most likely use. Flapple is the one that you'll really have to try to make work.
Try your best.
Yeah. One that you won't have to try so hard though is Solar Power Charizard. Charizard finally gets access to Solar Power, and so Gmax Wildfire is going to be nuts.
People were using it already on Battle Spot. We already know how good it is.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's just better than Blaze in every way.
Oh, yeah.
If Blaze can win regionals, then I'm sure Solar Power can do the same.
And then a Pokemon that's basically that, but rock, is Colossal with Gmax Vocalith. So, I mean, it does rock damage the same kind of way that Wildfire does over a couple turns, which, I mean, good way to deal with Charizard. So you might want to consider that. I know a couple people bring Colossals on their team specifically to deal with certain Pokemon like Charizard. A lot of people run weakness policy on it because it can take a very easy hit from many different kinds of moves. So something to consider.
Next, Grimmsnarl. I think this one's going to be very good. I think it's going to be good because you essentially cause both of your Pokemon to receive a yawn. Now, granted, they don't fall asleep immediately, but the fact that you're able to do a damaging move on one of their Pokemon and make them both receive a yawn is, in my eyes, super strong, because if they don't eventually sleep, you force a switch. Yeah. And if they also D-Max that turn, then you force the switch on that D-Max. Granted, this can be countered by Electric Terrain, and I think that, Electric Terrain will probably be seeing more use because of this and because of Sleep Powder Venusaur.
Yeah.
But, all in all, if you're forcing your opponent's Pokemon to use an electric move on a Grimmsnarl instead of a super effective move, then that's still not that bad.
There are ways of dealing with that. Yeah, it's basically your game of chess. You're setting up for an opponent to have to make a move. Otherwise, you have them in check. So
yeah, you force them. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is always nice having the upper hand in that situation to guide the battle into your favor.
Yeah, and I mean Hatterene is kind of an interesting one. Gmax Smite confuses all the opponents, which I feel like is kind of a it's the opportunity for you to actually use confusion, because confusion isn't used a ton in this meta right now.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this can be dealt with by Misty Terrain as well, but keep in mind that Misty Terrain only prevents statuses. It doesn't heal them. So if you already have the status up, then Misty Terrain, unlike like Grimmsnarl, which you can counter like that next turn, once the confusion is kind of inset, you just kind of have to deal with it.
Now, one thing that I will say about Hatterene is that that Gmax move is a lot better than its regular Dmax move. So that's something to keep in mind, because the regular max Mindstorm, you would already have Psychic Terrain up, so you wouldn't need to reset Psychic Terrain, because typically Hatterene is paired with Indeedee.
Yeah.
So you essentially just get a max Mindstorm off, but free confusion. So it has that Snorlax treatment of there's no real reason to use the Dmax over the Gmax.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into Gmax Kingler though.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
We have Gmax Foam Burst harshly lowers the speed of opponents.
The fact that it's harsh is nuts.
Yeah.
Can I just say the fact that it harshly reduces, that is crazy. For those of you who don't know, harsh is 2 stages.
Yeah. Now, the only issue I have with Kingler is I actually faced one for some reason. I think I accidentally went on doubles casual instead of doubles ranked, and someone brought a Kingler, and it's so frail, Mike. I thunderbolted it. It died with a Rotom.
A shame.
I was like, oh no. So that's the only thing that I'm going to say about it.
You can't stop Kingler from being a Kingler.
Yeah, Kingler's still Kingler.
Doesn't have that kind of defense to support it. I mean, the Gmax makes it at least a little bit more bulky, but
yeah, I mean, it's better than regular Kingler.
Isn't it though?
If you're gonna try Kingler, go for it.
Speaking of better, I've been really turned on to Lapras the past couple of weeks, by of course Tofu-san from our Discord. Big shout out to you. Lapras is a crazy Pokemon. It's so good. It's so good. Freeze dry. Oh my! Freeze dry? You kidding me though? Freeze dry though? That takes out so many Pokemon. Now, you know what else is going to take out so many Pokemon is Gmax Resonance. Gmax Resonance is going to be the reason to actually Dynamax, or Gigantamax in this case, your Lapras. Gmax Resonance will basically toss up an Aurora Veil for 5 turns.
For free.
Well, usually you have to have hail coming down to put that down. You know what I'm saying? You put up an Aurora Veil when the hail is out. That takes maybe like 2 turns or maybe 1.5 turns if you have like a what's his name, Vanillux out. But now you can just use it. It puts up a light screen. It puts up a reflect for free.
If you guys couldn't tell, Mike is so hyped for this Pokemon.
You kidding me?
He's waving his arms on the camera right now.
Now, however, this may be the time that we see our friend, Mr. Rhyme.
Yeah.
Let me just drop that right there. Mr. Rhyme.
Or Mr. Mime.
Probably Mr. Mime. You like Mr. Mime? Not bad either. Screen cleaner. You might even see what's the other one? Brick Break?
Yeah,
or Psychic Fangs. Yeah.
Gmax Corphinite. All those can break screens too.
That's true. But for the majority of people that are not going to bring that, Lapras is just going to wall, and that's going to be a beautiful thing.
It's already hard enough to kill a Lapras. Imagine having it be big and behind dual screens. Oh my god. That'll be a fun one.
Another fun one, actually, will be Gmax Orbeetle. with Gmax Gravitas. Changes
I'm
gravity
excited for this one.
Yeah,
I think that this is what Orbeetle needed.
You've been talking about gravity for the past little while. What do you think about gravity?
I actually like gravity is a field effect, and we were gonna talk about it a little bit more when we did a field effects video, but not video or podcast. But what I find so good about gravity is that a lot of people don't know this. It boosts the accuracy of every move by I think everything that's base 60 gets boosted to 100. So that includes things like hypnosis. So if you have gravity on the field, you essentially get 100% accuracy hypnosis, which is the closest thing that you can get to Spore again in this game. And there's also a lot of synergies with gravity teams. Did you know that Flapple's Graph Apple will do 50% or 1.5 times more damage with Grav Apple if it's in gravity?
That is interesting.
Because the apple will fall harder to the ground.
It's all about how fast that apple falls. So we might actually see Orbeetle and Flapple.
Yeah, and you know what else is interesting is the hidden ability that Flapple gets is Hustle, right? Hustle becomes 100% accurate too in gravity as well.
So we might see Orbeetle, Flapple. We might see Orbeetle. What was the other one? Dracozolt?
Yeah.
Orbeetle Durant is another one with Hustle.
Orbeetle Togekiss.
Yeah. Orbeetle Milotic is another one. Milotic gets access to hypnosis.
Gardevoir's Gallade get access to hypnosis. I think
they're all faster than Butterfree. So.
Yeah, I think it's super sleeper because Orbeetle is actually a fast Pokemon. I don't remember the base speed exactly, but I think it's around base. It's high. It's like base 90. It's like super defensive. Yeah, it's base 90 with 120 special defense and 110 defense. So yeah, you give that thing a D-max, and have its HP boosted. It'll be hard to take down. Keep an eye out for Orbeetle.
Yeah. And then the last one that we got, Toxtricity, Gmax Toxtricity. I had honestly forgotten that this Pokemon. What did we know that this Pokemon was a thing? I had completely forgot about it. If not,
no, it was. I mean, if you were into like data mines, you knew it was a thing. But no, they released this officially this past February, I think, or January.
Now, this one's a little interesting because it does get Gmax Stun Shock, which paralyzes or poisons all opponents, which, I mean, pretty good. But at that point, you might as well run Beak Pikachu. But since we can't anymore with this.
No, you can.
You still can? You still can?
Yeah, they're additionally added.
Oh, that's beautiful. But like, so since you can use Gmax Pikachu, you don't want to poison the opponent. You very rarely, I should say, want to poison the opponent.
If it was badly poisoned, maybe. But no, it's just regular poison.
Yeah.
Not that impressive.
But I mean, again, Toxtricity is really cool. Got a really cool design. And the typing is pretty unique. Just don't keep it anywhere close to any kind of ground.
Don't keep it on the ground.
Don't keep it on the ground. Put it on a balloon. Now, which are there Pokemon here that you're planning on like actually trying out? Most of
Orbeetle, Orbeetle for sure. Lapras for sure. Solar Power Charizard is probably the one I'm going to use immediately right after because I just think that's going to be really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any tricks up its sleeve. It's really easy to use. I mean, anyone with a pulse can figure it out. It's pretty simple. So I think I'm going to start off with that one and then work my way to getting complicated with Orbeetle and getting complicated with Grimmsnarl. Those are the ones that I'm looking towards. What about you?
For me, just straight Lapras. Straight Lapras. Like I didn't have a Gmax on my team anyway, so just Lapras. There you go. Grimmsnarl is pretty interesting. I'm trying to stay away from Solar Power Charizard as much as I can. Just because I'm a bigger fan of taking it out than I am of using it. But Orbeetle, that might be another thing that I'm interested in trying too, especially with all the low use Hustle users. That gravity might really help out. I mean, really, if we're talking hustle Pokemon, uh, Gmax Tartness on Flapple might not be as bad as we thought.
Yeah, I mean that's also true. Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, maybe Flapple can take advantage of that after his DMAX is over. I think that's the point of having that there for Flapple. Is just like he can reduce the opponent's evasion so that when he comes back in, his hustle can hit the 100% accurate.
Yeah,
but that's still, you have to wait 3 turns for that to be useful.
We'll see.
I don't know. Someone prove me wrong. Show me how to use Flapple. Well, which of these do you think is underrated?
Underrated?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Orbeetle. I think Kingler is exactly as rated as it should be. Alchemy maybe. I mean, who knows? Who knows, right? Like if you pair Alchemy with some like high recoil Pokemon, maybe. But I don't know. I don't really see that one happening. Hatterene might be used. We don't see a ton of Misty Terrain users because a lot of fairy moves are just good on their own. Max Starfall we only see, every now and then. But whatever. It is what it is. We're starting to come close on time here. So what I'm going to do, let's get into our Pokemon Pokesports Spotlight, which, of course, this month has to be Incineroar, the big fire dark cat itself. Incineroar has been a very interesting point of conversation over the past couple of weeks, ever since we realized that it is actually coming back into the meta. I mean, we'll see how good it actually is, but if you want to try and kind of maximize it, this is kind of the set that we're going for. Now, Incineroars will typically run a Figgy Berry. And what is the Figgy Berry for, Kevin?
When you go to 25% or lower health, you get 33% back,
which is a lot more than Citrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be 50 last generation. So it got nerfed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It usually runs the ability Intimidate with EVs of 216 HP, 116 attack, 108 defense, and 68 speed, just to kind of put it above some of the other typical. This one's also a 60 base speed, right? Yeah. With the Nature Adamant. Typically, they'll run with the moves Fake Out, Flare Blitz, Darkest Lariat, and in this generation, we wanted to be going with Parting Shot because Intimidate is going to be nasty.
And then Darkest Lariat because Knockoff's not in the game.
Exactly. So, if it did get Knockoff, then you want to put that on. And if we do get Knockoff back with the move Tutors, toss that right back on. Potential replacement moves, you can run Protect, obviously, because this is VGC. You can run Snarl, Close Combat, which it does get this generation, which is nuts. Everything with arms.
Like everything else.
Yeah, everything with arms. Or Earthquake, just because. So the interesting thing about Incineroar, it does outspeed a lot of base 109s if they're paralyzed or if you're in Tailwind. So you do want to typically run a Incineroar with Tailwind, so you can outspeed some Durants and really take it out with a nice little Flare Blitz right there. And then the HP investment helps you take at least one Max Rockfall from those Durants and Tyrannitars after you use an Intimidate and after Sandstorm. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, Incineroar is going to be good. Go pick yours up. We're giving them away. So
yes, we are. We are giving away an Incineroar with our monthly giveaway that is going on right now. So if you type in !giveaway, or if you're listening to us on Spotify, if you go to Pokesports Pod on Twitter, you can check out the pinned message, which is the pinned tweet, which is the giveaway. So that's all good. Moving right along, boom, it's the QR corner.
QR corner.
That's the
I made
song.
It right now.
You did it.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
No. See what you guys can do with that one. Now, listen. the QR corner, again, for those of you who are new to it, if you are watching us on YouTube or Twitch, you'll be able to scan those 2 QR codes that you see on the screen, either to review us on Apple Podcasts or to send us an email at pokesportspodcast@gmail.com. We do read those out, and we want to hear from you guys. Now, this week, we're actually kind of going to pivot to an interesting one that we got on our Instagram from the Grand Canyon MTL, or Mike. He says, "Hey, Mike and Kevin. First, I want to say I love the show. Thank you very much. I'm a newer competitive player, and I'm learning a lot from you guys." I've been hearing that one a lot, actually. I'm really appreciative for that one. So I received a Mimikyu versus Wonder Trade on home. It had 6 perfect IVs and the correct nature already, so I thought, oh, nice, I should use this. I proceeded to try this out on singles ranked, but it was banned for an unspecified reason. I thought that maybe there's a temporary ban on Pokemon obtained directly on home, or maybe this Pokemon is hacked and the game is auto-banning it. I thought y'all might have some insight on this, and we absolutely do. And this is a great time for a real quick PSA. Kevin, tell us about this Pokemon.
Now, something that the official online rules didn't have previously that they added on once home came out was that all the Pokemon that are being used on anything online in Sword and Shield have to have a black Galar symbol in the summary. So the fact that you got that Mimikyu from home means it was probably a Mimikyu from Sun and Moon, and it was probably perfect, probably completely legal. But since it was from Sun and Moon, you're not able to use it online in Sword and Shield. So sadly, even though it's perfect, you're gonna have to rebreed it. There's no way around that. But since it's perfect, it'll be a little bit easier to breed, thankfully.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, you do still have to kind of be lightly aware of the fact that a Pokemon can be hacked. But if it's been sent through a trading system somewhere, typically you should be okay. Or if you ever have any doubts, just rebreed. Just be really safe and just make it your own. Make it a Galar-born Pokemon. Yeah. And then from the email side this week, Dabbing Spider-Man sent us an email.
Yeah, man. What a great name.
Thank you, Dabbing Spider-Man. Said, "I would love some help with my Sunny Day team. What Pokemon and what moves do I need?" And we are running super low on time. So Kevin, give us a quick run through of what Pokemon we can put on a Sunny Day team.
Quick caveat: we have a whole weather episode, so if there's anything if there's anything that I miss here, go watch that episode. Yeah, it's actually the first weather we talk about. Okay, you might want a Charizard with Solar Power. You might want a Heliolisk with Solar Power. You might want a Whimsicott with Sunny Day or a Sableye with Sunny Day. You might want a Torkoal. You might want a Vileplume. And coming with home, you're definitely gonna want a Venusaur.
Yes.
Coming March 1st.
That
Venusaur.
chlorophyll is going to come in clutch. On my side, I would say that you definitely want things that are not negatively impacted by sun, but can operate without it. So we're talking things like like rock types. We're talking things like ground types. We're talking things like electric types. Why not? Just bring some extra coverage. Be careful about your water moves and your water Pokemon, because that will be a little harder to deal with.
Make sure your Heliolisk doesn't have dry skin and has solar power.
Yeah. All right. And with that, we're going to end things off because we have some extra stuff to do tonight that we will be sharing with you guys early next week. Until then, Kevin, where can people find you?
X Reservation, Instagram, and Twitter.
Of course, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at StillJustMike. You can follow us on Spotify at Pokésports. If you just look that up, you'll be able to find us. You can rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Pokésports. Subscribe to us there because we put out content every single day that is, in my mind, very informative, very interesting, and hopefully something that's a little bit more creative from us. recently. Anyway, if there's anything that we talked about that you want to hear more about or that you want to see, you can always find this VOD on YouTube. You can leave us a comment there about what you want to see in future episodes. Follow us on Twitter at Pokesports Pod. Follow us on Instagram and Patreon. You can sign up at Pokesports Podcast. Special thanks this week to Joseph, or Joe the Exotic, our tier 3 patron. You have
Thanks, Joe.
set things in motion, and I love you very much for it. We will see you next week for a brand new episode of Pokesports coming on March 2nd, Monday, March 2nd, 9 p.m. EST on Twitch. Get it there. See you later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
We're such losers.
Yeah.